We are back with another chat with Nat. I guess that's what we're gonna fucking call this now. We're gonna talk about fucking timelines today, okay? Shifting timelines is one of my favorite fucking topics to talk about because I feel like I finally figured this shit out. I mean, to an extent, right? We're always learning, always growing. There's always more, but I feel like I've got the premises of it down. So to give you an idea, in the last 2 years, I started my online coaching business long before I rebranded it as Sovereign Body. And I worked as an in-person coach for years. I still do. I still work as an in-person. I have a handful of clients. I coach a lacrosse team during their season. I really enjoy in-person coaching, but that's besides the point. When I was working as an in-person coach, I used to work like 12 to 14-hour days, and it was fucking wild. And during that time, I decided that I wanted to compete. So I was in competition prep, working these fucking insane hours as an in-person coach. I was doing group fitness classes. I taught multiple throughout the week. And I ran myself so motherfucking ragged. And it just wasn't paying the bills the way that I needed it to. And I mean, competing's fucking expensive, okay? Like, you spend a lot on a coach, you spend on the membership for the federation, for the show, especially if you're doing multiple categories, you spend a lot. So at that time, that was a lot of money for me. And when I was working as an in-person coach, I only got paid for the hours that I was working on the floor with a client, or if I was teaching a class. So if I was in the gym and I didn't have a client, you're not getting paid. Even if you're like doing lead generation or whatever, you don't get paid for that time. So I had to run myself ragged because I also had just moved into a brand new apartment. I had my car payment, like all the things, right? All the bills. And I knew that I could not continue running myself ragged, working 12 to 14-hour days, and in competition prep just to pay my bills. Like, I was working so hard and I ran my body into the fucking ground. So I knew that I needed to build a container to have infinite income without having to do tremendous physical work, right? And that's going to be one of the biggest things. If you are looking to expand your income, if you are looking to grow and you don't want to be limited to somebody else paying your bills, working a 9 to 5 where you're making anywhere between 20 and 50 an hour and you got to worry about gas prices, then you have to build a container, and that's going to look different for everybody. But the most successful container that you're going to build is going to be one that fuels your soul, that is part of your soul purpose. I knew in my soul that coaching was it. All right. Even when I was in the shithole, when I was almost getting evicted and I had my car repossessed, I knew that I was going to get myself out of the hole through coaching. And I did. 2 years later, here we are. But I refused to do literally anything else. Even when I had notices on my door that my eviction was about to fucking happen. Like, I was like, I'm gonna figure this shit out and we're gonna do it through coaching, one way or a motherfucking other. So I had started my online coaching business. But when you start out as an entrepreneur, and this goes into any business, you are the bottleneck, you are the problem, you are the solution, you are everything. If you do not regulate yourself, it affects literally everything else. So the time that I had started my online coaching business was right after my first competition prep. And that was very hard because I was not aware of how I would respond after my first prep. I started binging. I lost all motivation to train. I wasn't doing cardio. I gained 30 pounds in 3 months. And I didn't feel like me. I didn't feel like I had any integrity. I was like, how can I ask my clients to show up when I can't even show up for myself? And I lost my identity through that. And it was very challenging. And since I felt like shit, the business did shit. And the business is just a mirror of you. It's a reflection of you. If you are not taking care of yourself, it affects literally everything else. So everything went to shit. And I had to figure out how to regulate myself in order for everything to start functioning again. So it took a hot minute. I had to move. I had very little notice, but there got to a point that I commanded the universe. I said, whatever I'm doing from this point forward, it's going to be for me. It's not going to be for anybody else. And it was like that. As soon as I put the command out, within 48 hours, I needed to move out of my old apartment, find a new apartment, and like shift my entire motherfucking life. And I realized that with that command, I had shifted to timeline. No, when we're shifting timelines, there's so many different moving parts to shifting timelines, which is why in the beginning it's so challenging, because it's not only putting the command out into the universe or to God or whatever you want to call it, it's also doing so with so much conviction that you know that there is no other outcome, that it's already done. In witchcraft, we say a lot with spells like so it is or so mote it be or whatever that is. It's the same thing. It's a command and it's done so in conviction. If there is any doubt, it doesn't work. If there's doubt within your spells, it doesn't work. It needs to be done with so much conviction that the universe has no other option except to respond. So how removing the fear and the doubt is tremendously difficult, especially when you have subconscious feedback loops that have also already been written into this identity or this thought process that you're not good enough, that you're a failure, that you never succeed. If you are already filled with all of those doubts and your brain has already created this identity, doing anything with conviction is it feels fucking impossible. So that's where the psychological side has to come in, and you have to do tremendous mindset work. And I looked like a motherfucking crazy person because I would be in my apartment, again, with like eviction notices, meditating. I knew that I needed to meditate. I knew that I needed to go inward. Everybody thought I lost my mind. And I also felt like I lost my mind during that time a little bit. A little bit is an understatement. It was a lot. But I knew that the mindset piece was huge. And nothing else would change until I got that right. And little by little, I started to reaffirm this identity that my commands always worked, that my commands were always received, and that the universe responded every single time. And then I started to prove it to myself over and over and over again until I rewrote that neural pathway altogether. I cannot find the brush I want to use. So, building trust within yourself is beyond challenging. This is the same brush. Where's the other brush? Let's see. There we go. It's beyond challenging. How does it feel within the body? How does it feel regulating your nervous system? Do you feel anxiety when you set a command? So it all goes hand in hand. The physical body, the mind, the neural pathways, the identity, all of it coincides. If it doesn't feel safe within the body and you can't command with conviction, the timeline can't land. The command cannot be sent out to the universe as this is it and there's no other option. If you don't feel it in your chest, if you don't feel it in your heart, if you don't feel it in your fucking soul that it's already done, then the shift can't happen. So you have an integration of having so much divine faith in yourself. You have to know that you are infinitely possible, like you are the creator in flesh, that your soul, your body is the soul slowed down to matter, and that you can create absolutely anything that you want. But that's very challenging when we grow up and we have all of these beliefs and identities and fear and feedback loops that are instilled into us at such a young age. So how do we start to break down those old identities to build new ones? And so much of it is done through repetition. If you want to learn more about the subconscious feedback loops, go back to my last video, because I talked quite a bit about that. But in order for the timeline to land, it must be done, any command must be done through conviction. You have to show up within the own identity that you are trying to step into. So one of the techniques that I'm using now with my clients is that I want you to pretend that you are incognito, okay? That no one in your work, in your family, in your friend group knows who you are, not truly. They just have an idea of who you are now, but they have absolutely no idea that you are like this like rich and famous person. Let's use that as an example. Like you want to be rich and famous for whatever. Pretend you're undercover. Pretend that you are already that person and just nobody knows about it. So we can start tricking to the brain to believing that you are already her. I did this for years. You have to show up and act that way too. So I started to cut off friends. I started to cut off coworkers. I wouldn't hold the same conversations. I didn't create space for them because they were sucking my energy. And I realized that in order for me to succeed in what I needed to, I had to be very selective with my energy. So I want you to just pretend that you're incognito, that you're already that bitch that has her dream life and nobody else knows it yet. It's a secret. How would you show up on the day to day if you were already her? This is like some Hannah Montana bullshit, okay? But it fucking works, let me tell you. When you hold yourself to that high standard too, the way you walk and talk and act is going to be different. I was still teaching group fitness classes, and I was coaching a couple clients while I was building my online coaching business up. And I would go into the gym. I worked for Crunch. I'd go into the gym, coach my clients, teach my classes, go out. I don't talk to nobody. Anybody asks how you're doing? I'm great. Nobody knows a fucking thing. I'm better that way. That way when the reality catches up, they're gonna be like, oh fuck. Don't let people suck your energy dry. But that's one of the techniques that I've used that I find is super fucking effective to be able to collapse time, because it tricks your brain into believing that you're already her. I was having a conversation with one of my clients last night, and we were talking about timelines. There's 2 points that I want to make to this. Another thing with timelines is anchoring the timeline. Look. How do we anchor the timeline? Because there needs to be anchors in the physical reality. And it only took me getting here to realize why like the rich buy things so much. And they are just anchors and affirmations of your new reality. So she was talking about like how she would need shades because the glow up is going to be so bright. And I was like, actually, yeah, go get yourself some new sunglasses, because that's going to be an anchor for your new identity and your new reality. What can you physically see that you can connect to this new identity and the new reality that you're stepping into? So when she said that, it was a joke, but I was like, actually, no, go get yourself some new sunglasses. Don't feel bad about it. This is your new identity that you're stepping into. And if a pair of sunglasses is going to help you like reaffirm the identity, then go do it. What physical anchors can you do you associate with the identity that you're becoming? Funny enough, one that I did recently is business clothes. A bitch only wears gym clothes, okay? That's all I've worn for years. I have not worn anything business casual or business professional in a very long time. But every time I would imagine my higher timeline, I would be in like all black business professional or business casual clothes, even though I'm literally a coach and it makes sense that I'm in gym clothes, right? But I always knew that I would be wearing business clothing. So I should have done this sooner. I should have gotten the business clothes long before there was an opportunity. But now there's an opportunity to wear them, and I needed to go get them anyway. And I've already shifted into this identity before I got the anchor. It would have anchored sooner had I done this sooner. I hope this is making sense. Hold on. I'm gonna do my eyeliner and I just can't talk and do this at the same time, so one sec. There we go. Okay, so what physical anchors? What makes you feel like that bitch? Okay, we need those anchors. And I'm not saying to go out and buy a Chanel purse, okay? Get things that you're like, damn, I'm already that girl. If I wanted to go walk into Chanel and go get my purse, I absolutely could. What's gonna make you feel like that bitch? So, some things to consider. I love my physical anchors. I have one that I got recently is this custom bracelet from Mob Dark, and it says, oh, let me flip it. It says Blondie. One thing that I associated is like custom stuff with my highest timeline. So there's quite a few things. So like the business clothes that I associate with my highest timeline. I have envisioned myself 20 million times in one very specific timeline, and I always see myself in business clothes. I just had a flashback of another download that I had ages ago. But I always envision myself in like black suits and things like that. Long blonde hair, like nothing else changes but my dress, my formal attire. And then the last bit that her and I were talking about was you don't even realize that you're already her. Like nothing changed between me in January. In January, I made 4.8K, okay? $4,800 in the month of January in my online coaching business. Now to June, where we're gonna finish off the month at like 18K, all right? I hit 10K last month. The month before was 9K. The girl that made 4K, 5K, that was struggling and was like concerned about gas prices, I'm the same girl 6 months later. Nothing's changed. I'm in the same apartment. I have the same shit. I'm the same girl. I actually made my bed today. Like, I didn't realize that I would feel the same. And I know that this is stupid, but we kind of push off the timeline of our most abundant self way into the future and think of her as someone separate from us. Like she has different, she's completely different from us. She's not. She's you right now, but with more money. That's it. That's literally the only difference. Her spending habits might be a little bit different. I did notice that. I had gone down to Miami. I went to a store. It's one of my favorite stores to shop at. It's called Akira. And when I went in there and I didn't have the money to spend, I wanted to buy everything. I went there this past weekend. Nothing caught my eye. I shit you not. I bought one shirt so I could wear it to this business conference that I'm going to, and that was it. And I was prepared to go in there and spend. And I was like, actually, no. I actually don't really resonate with any of this. I don't know if it's because they got rid of the old, like all the old clothes and I like that so much more. I don't know what it was, but it happened over and over again that I went into different stores that I have absolutely loved in the past thinking, oh my God, I'm going to go treat myself. And I've walked out with nothing because I was like, it's not even worth it. I have the money to spend now and I don't even want to. So there's going to be different things that are going to shift, but you're going to be the same person at the end of the day. I literally feel no difference whatsoever for between January and June, except that I'm not concerned all the time about paying my bills. Those scarcity loops do still come up. And I know that sounds fucking crazy considering that we're at 18K for the month, but that shit gets embedded so deep into you, it's not even funny. Let me do my fucking mascara. I still get those scarcity loops I literally use Sezzle to pay things because it calms down my nervous system, which is so dumb. I can just pay for it outright. But I do. I'll use Sezzle to pay for stuff just for the sake of it not feeling like a big purchase on my nervous system, which is, it's so fucking dumb. But that's the reality of it. So even when you do make it, you still have to do all the mindset work. That can't stop. You still have to catch all of those negative thoughts and replace them and repeat affirmations. All of that has to continue because those subconscious feedback loops, they run deep. They run really deep. So once you have a container, then it's so much mindset and nervous system regulation and showing up with integrity. How do you show up with integrity in your day-to-day life? How do you show up for yourself? How do you take care of your body? Are you your most confident self? And if you're not, what habits need to be instilled in order for you to be your most confident self? Because if you're feeling like crap in your physical body, it's going to reflect in the business. If you don't take yourself seriously and you don't show up with integrity, then who else is going to take you seriously or believe that you have any integrity? Who's going to want to do business with you if you don't even feel confident in your own skin? That's a shitty realization. And that's going to hit hard for some of you, but some of you need to hear it. If you don't feel confident within yourself and you don't even feel like you're worth it, who's going to believe that you are worth it? So it's got to start with you. Be incognito, all right? Know that you're already that bitch and the rest of the world is catching up, and it will change your entire motherfucking life. So I would love to hear your biggest takeaway from today's episode. I'm gonna go ahead and finish my makeup. I'll show you the final look here at the end. It's the same makeup I do every single fucking day. So yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, that's it. That's the final look. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what was the most helpful piece to this in the comments. Please like, comment, subscribe, all of that good shit. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!